September 12th, 2011, Michael Savage, and I'm sitting here sick to my stomach over the tepid, ferocious lie that occurred over the last 3 days with men like Mayor Bloomberg, Rudy Giuliani, former President Bush, and all of the others being caponized by the radical Muslim lobbies around America into not even reminding us who did it to us. We can never win this war. In fact, we're losing this war. If you lose the war of ideas, you lose the war on the battlefield. If you lose the desire to even understand who your enemy is, and you listen to the words I just chose. If you lose the desire to even know who your enemy is, how can you fight your enemy? They know who you are. They define you as their enemy every day. They define you as their enemy every day. They have names for you. They call you dhimmis. They call you every name under the sun. They call you crusaders. But you have no name for them. You're not allowed to say who they are. You're not allowed to even know who they are. You see no evil. You hear no evil. You think by being a nice liberal like Dr. Spock, you think by being Mr. Rogers that the radical Muslims are going to like you, you stupid schmucks, you. What have you learned from history? Have you not learned what psychotic maniacs are like? Have you not learned what bullies are like? Have you not understood the first thing about 9/11? I don't actually blame you. I don't blame you. You're like a bunch of drug children in a schoolroom being taught to sing with your enemy while your enemy is plotting to cut your throat. Having said all of that, I'm going to take a few calls in a moment, and then I'm going to play a real speech from 9/11/01. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Play it. Of the United States of America. The radical Muslim world has declared war on America. We are at war. We are at war. Attention, America. This is your Pearl Harbor. This is your Pearl Harbor. In the World Trade Center today, a World Trade Center that no longer exists, demolished by two hijacked airliners, taken over by radical Muslims. Ladies and gentlemen, you will never forget this day as long as you live. It is time for you to come out of your sleep. It is time for you to put your hats on forward. It is time for you to throw your pornography in a bonfire. It is time for you to turn off your sports. It is time for you to turn off your entertainment. You will not have a nation unless you awaken and stand up like a man. What can be done? I want to remind you that we are at war. We do not know the exact count of fatalities at the World Trade Center. As you well know, radical Muslims hijacked these two planes. In fact, on the web right now, we have intelligence that two connected to bin Laden said over private airwaves, we hit two targets. We hit two targets. Those two targets, of course, are the World Trade Center in New York City, no longer existent. I'm going to remind you that the United States went to war when Pearl Harbor was attacked, when 2,800 or 2,700 or 2,900 boys were killed by the Japanese. Ladies and gentlemen, what will it take for this country to close the borders, to reassert English as our language, to stop the flood of asylees from every garbage can in the world? This is the result of a weakened nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at war. What must be done? Where are Bush and Cheney? What emergency steps are you taking? 1-800-449-8255 is the phone number on the Savage Nation. This is a day that will live in infamy, but I want to tell you this. Many of you are frightened in the false assumption that terrorism cannot be fought against. That is the wrong assumption. It is the wrong conclusion. That is what you're going to hear from the defeatists. I want to remind everyone listening to Michael Savage that Japan's kamikaze attacks ended only after Truman dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. I will repeat that. Kamikazes never act on their own. They are financed, they are trained, and they are supplied by governments. Kamikazes do not act on their own. Japan's kamikaze attacks ended only after we dropped 2 atomic bombs on their homeland. We must atomize their training camps. We must atomize their training camps now, and I am not the only one who knows this. Congressman Rohrabacher from Orange County, California, this morning was furious. He had been trying to warn the morons at the highest level for months now that this was coming, and they called him a right-wing maniac. They ridiculed Rohrabacher. They dismissed him as a right-wing nut. Maybe you've dismissed me as a right-wing nut. When I've been telling you for years, close the borders. Where do you think the terrorists came from? How do you think they got into our country? You morons, I've been telling you that ultra-tolerance is killing us. Well, the day has come. This is your Pearl Harbor. You're going to live with it just as I am. I am telling you that this is a direct result of ultra-tolerance. This is a direct result of open borders. This is a direct result of a politically corrected society that is afraid to call it what it is. Everybody knows who did this. Everybody knows who's behind this. Everybody knows what must be done. Where is Bush? Where is Cheney? What emergency steps are you taking? What emergency steps are you taking now that we are at war? Do you have any idea what is going on? Do you have any idea what has happened to your country? Do you know that your life will never be the same? Are you aware that your comfort level has changed forever? Do you comprende, amigo? We are at war. I've been trying to stop this. I've been telling you about it. I've been warning you about it. Dateline, Cairo, Egypt today. Bullseye says Egyptians as they celebrate anti-U.S. attacks. Egyptian students, taxi drivers, shopkeepers celebrating in Cairo. Bullseye commented two of them as they watched footage of the Twin Towers of your World Trade Center shrouded in plumes of smoke. Another Egyptian man told AFP he was pleased with the wave of violence in which another plane crashed into the Pentagon in Washington. Nice work, said Abdel Karim, who drives a car for an Asian embassy. He said, and I quote, "The Americans have forgotten that God exists. They have us by the throat, and now they find themselves in a science fiction film scenario, but this time Rambo's not there to save the White House." Ladies and gentlemen, Abdel Karim hailed the attacks as the best thing that's happened since the October War. Egyptian is considered an ally of the United States. Egyptian is considered one of the moderate countries in the Middle East. Khalil Matar, 43, who works in a state-run soap factory, said, "The Americans are cowards. They use other countries to hit us. They don't have the courage to meet us face to face. The myth of the indestructible United States has gone up in smoke." What about the women of Egypt? Compassion? Let's listen to Polytechnic student Amira Riyad, who said, "We saw the World Trade Tower crash down," referring, of course, to the towers going down. She said, quote, "I only wish U.S. President George Bush and his dear little baby, Ariel Sharon, had been buried in there too. There are your moderate Arabs. Where is the muscular reaction? Where are the men of America? Where is the leadership of America?" Next, we're going to hear that we're going to get counselors going out so you can get on your hands and knees and pray. They'll tell you what color ribbon to put on.
Savage.
A little different than what you heard over the weekend from Mayor Bloomberg. I couldn't believe the nature of the so-called commemorations. They wouldn't say the word radical Islam. They wouldn't say Muslim. Instead, CNN went so far as to make Muslims the victims of 9/11. It was as though I was living not in Alice in Wonderland, but in the United States of America under Barack Hussein Obama, our first Muslim president. Now, I have a reader's comment that I picked up out of the newspaper, one Emma Garcia, who was arguing with people on a thread underneath an article where some Muslims were saying that Islam took over most of the world as a result of the superiority of the religion and the spirituality of the struggle. Here's what she wrote. She said it wasn't a spiritual struggle that in only a few centuries inspired, organized, and executed the Mohammedan conquests of the Arabian Peninsula, the Middle East, the Byzantine Empire, the Sassanid Persian Empire, North Africa, Sicily, the Iberian Peninsula to the Pyrenees, the Indian subcontinent, Central Asia, and to the borders of China. No, she said it was jihad, holy war, a holy war whose limitless tactics and totalitarian strategies are outlined in detail in the ultimate military manual, the Quran. This same Quran, as well as the words and deeds of Muhammad, inspired and justified the millions of Muslims who funded, the thousands of Muslims who organized, and the few dozen Muslims who carried out the Islamic attack on America on 9/11/01. Do you disagree with Emma Garcia? Or do you agree with Emma Garcia? I'm one of those who agrees with Emma Garcia, and I am not going to be brainwashed. I have paid the price. I have been banned from entering Britain for saying what I said to you just now on this show many times. They won't even let me in that country anymore because they've been taken over. That's correct. And if you think we're far behind you, I got another guest coming for you. And my last hope of awakening you and the world is my novel. I switched gears. I went from nonfiction. I've had one bestseller after another to fiction. I figured, look, you can only do so much with factual books. I mean, the book sold very well. Many people read it. They understand what's in it. In fact, my call for tariffs on goods coming in from China was picked up by Trump, and then it was picked up even by surprises, the a man who gave us Romney Care, which is Obamacare Jr. But I wanted to do something different, so I wrote a novel called Abuse of Power, a thriller. It's out tomorrow. You know that now. It's going to be in every bookstore in America. And I'm asking you, you want to change the shape of books? You want to change the shape of movies? You want to change the mentality in this country? Well, okay, read the book. What else can I say to you? It's as simple as that. And by the way, while you're thinking about that, tell me if there was one word that I said in that 9/11/01 day, which was, I didn't write the speech. It was purely one from the heart and very emotional. I made two mistakes. I said Egyptian instead of Egypt. When I was saying Egypt is supposed to be our ally, I meant to say Egypt is supposed to be our ally. I said instead Egyptian is supposed to be our ally. I was very emotionally overwrought by what had happened to us on 9/11, unlike Neil Cavuto or Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity, who did what they were told to do by the 20% ownership from a Saudi prince, in my estimation. So there we are. That's where we are. I'll be right back.
Savage.